It's been 3 years since my family got trapped in this horror game, and I fell in love with an NPC. I died for him 98 times. When bloodthirsty ants gnawed off my limbs, I desperately wished he'd just turn and look at me. When a monster swallowed me whole, I still wondered if he'd shed a single tear. After my 99th revival, he finally agreed to be with me. I thought it was salvation. Until my mother got caught by a monster. Julian hit the switch. Now, I screamed until my throat bled. Activating that switch would set fire to those monsters and save her. But he spun around, pressing his hand firmly on the lever. Serafina is afraid of fire. No one touches it. Mom's screams cut off abruptly. Serafina saw me sobbing uncontrollably. She hid behind Julian, peering out shyly. Julian, Cassidy is crying. She said this world is just a game, and even if Aunt Eleanor dies, she'll just revive. But he had no idea. Here, if my mom died, she was truly gone. She'd never come back. I watched him protect another woman as they walked away. The boy who used to need me to hold his hand just to step outside was now a stranger to me, like he'd swapped bodies with someone else. Later, when monsters besieged our community, Julian, naturally, ordered me to lead them away. I turned around without hesitation and walked into the stronghold I'd built for myself. Who do you think you are, to demand my life again? I froze, listening to the monster's guttural swallowing, my blood feeling like it had turned to ice in my veins. Julian still habitually gripped my wrist, his palm's warmth once the only light in these 3 years of endless darkness. But now, that light felt poisoned, burning me with searing pain. Get away from me, don't touch me. I violently yanked my hand free from his grasp, shoved Serafina aside, and rushed to my mother's mangled remains. I hadn't used much force, but Serafina still stumbled back a good distance, falling into a reeking ditch full of rotting corpses. Cassidy, what gives you the right to hurt her? Julian kicked me hard in the stomach. A gush of blood instantly spilled from my mouth. He'd forgotten. After my 77th revival, when I'd saved him, my ribs had been completely shattered. I'd spent ages recovering, and it still hurt with the slightest touch. He'd promised me that as long as he was there, he'd never let me get hurt again, yet this time, he was the one who personally broke them. I watched him, a man who prided himself on being a clean freak, unhesitatingly rush into that stinking ditch and carry the other woman out in a princess carry. Julian, it's all my fault. If I weren't so scared, Cassidy wouldn't have lost her mom. She can hit me, she can yell at me, but why did she have to stain my favorite dress? You bought this for me, she cried, tears streaming down her face, looking utterly heartbroken. Every tear was a heavy hammer striking Julian's heart, making him ache with sympathy. So, in front of everyone in the organization, he coldly ordered me, take off your clothes and give them to Serafina, now. Immediately, my eyes blazed red as I looked up at him in disbelief. My mother had been indirectly killed because of them, and not a single apology. Now he was ordering me to strip in front of dozens of people in the organization. For another woman, seeing my refusal, Julian actually ordered his guys to hold me down and told his underlings to start tearing off my clothes. Julian, are you insane? I'm your girlfriend. My voice was a raw, trembling mess with fear, my gaze sweeping past the crowd. I saw him reach up and gently ruffle Serafina's hair, his movements so tender they could melt steel. Yet these same hands, just 3 months ago, had trembled as they wiped away my tears. Cassidy, when the blood ants gnawed at your skin, it must have hurt terribly, right? For my 77th revival, he'd been ensnared by monstrous vines. I'd desperately cut open my own artery, bleeding as I rushed to sever the vines. I'd ended up with my own ribs crushed by them. On the day of my 99th revival, he'd knelt before me, kissing the back of my hand for the first time, his voice hoarse as he said, Cassidy, from now on, I'll protect you. I believed him, but I never would have imagined that his idea of protecting me was to stand by and watch my mom get torn apart by monsters. Just to comfort a woman afraid of fire, I crawled forward, grabbing his arm fiercely. Julian, open your eyes and look. Serafina's clothes are only slightly dirty. What's most important right now is to gather my mother's remains and let her rest in peace, not for you to flirt with another woman here. How could you do this to me? How could you do this to my mother? During our first year in this world, my family members died one after another at the hands of monsters. Only my mother and I were left, along with Julian, whom I had saved. My mother treated him like her own son. She saved her share of the food she found, unwilling to eat it herself, giving it all to him. She even collapsed from starvation because of it. Now, he was willing to watch her die for another woman. Cassidy, can you stop being so dramatic? He clicked his tongue in annoyance, looking at me like I was some hysterical lunatic. Can't your mom just revive? Why are you making such a big deal out of it? Serafina cares about her appearance and can't stand having a stain on her clothes. Besides, even if your mom really died, you still need to take off your clothes and give them to Serafina. Right now, as his words fell, he seemed to fear my resistance. He grabbed a long spike and nailed my limbs to a wooden board. The moment the spike pierced my flesh, my agonizing scream echoed through the sky, but this bloody scene still couldn't stir a shred of softness in Julian. Seeing my pain, he, fearing it might scare Serafina, turned and covered her eyes. Cassidy, you dirted Serafina's clothes and wouldn't take them off for her. You deserved this. Julian's voice was as cold as ice. He didn't notice the undeniable triumph in Serafina's eyes as she nestled in his arms. They stepped closer, their actions becoming increasingly unrestrained as they tore my clothes into shreds, leaving large patches of my skin exposed. Most of them were survivors who had received my help in the past. Now, they all leered with crude amusement, even sneering and making vulgar jokes about me. Wow, I never would have thought our capable sister Cassidy had such smooth, fair skin underneath. You must have gotten a lot of nourishment from Julian. Huh, what are you talking about? Do you really think Julian alone could satisfy a slut like that? This is a good chance then. Julian alone probably can't keep you happy, right? How about us guys give you a proper service tonight? Seeing this, Julian stepped forward and stopped them. My eyes instantly lit up, just as I thought that after dying for him 99 times, he might still have a little love for me. His next words plunged me back into the abyss. Be careful not to hurt her, or I swear I'll make you pay. I suddenly burst out laughing. I laughed at myself, at how after my 99th revival, I actually believed this NPC could have real feelings. The bronze key in my pocket pressed against my chest. That was the pass to the stronghold, earned with 66 of my lives. The stronghold's leader was Reese. The strongest survivor in this game. His stronghold was impregnable, but not just anyone could enter. To secure a spot for Julian, I agreed to their demands and risked my life to scavenge supplies from the monster's main lair. I died 66 times there before they finally agreed to let Julian and me live inside. I had planned to tell him on his birthday, "Julian, we have a home now," but then he used sharp steel cables to tightly bind me, just to save another woman, Cassidy. "You've already died so many times, what's one more?" But Serafina is different. She'll be scared to tears. With that, he violently threw me towards the monsters. I watched in horror as the monsters closed in. The memory of my past agonizing deaths made me instinctively struggle violently, but the more I struggled, the deeper the sharp spikes dug into me. As the monsters came closer, I screamed desperately towards Julian. "Julian, I'm scared too, please, come save me, I'm your girlfriend, you can't just abandon me." Hearing my plea, Serafina turned and snuggled deeper into Julian's embrace. She whimpered sweetly, "Julian, those monsters sound so scary, let's go inside, quickly." So I watched, my heart breaking, as the man I had protected with my life didn't even glance at me again. Turning to leave with the other woman, I reached out and grabbed his sleeve, but he violently shook me off. "What are you so afraid of? You'll just revive after you die anyway. Didn't you say yourself that? This world is just a game to you." But I hurt too. Every death, the pain that overwhelmed me, was real. "Julian, maybe we should just let it go. I'll be fine. After all, Cassidy is your girlfriend." Serafina gently tugged his sleeve, feigning innocence as she deliberately exposed the bleeding claw marks on her arm. Seeing this, Julian's eyes immediately darkened. He raised his hand and slapped me hard across the face. "Cassidy, how could you be so cruel and lay your hands on Serafina?" The force of the blow made my ears ring, and blood instantly seeped from the corner of my mouth. Even so, he wasn't satisfied. He directly grabbed a sharp, barbed wire and tied my hands with it, his voice chilling. "She's all yours. Play with her however you like. Just don't kill her. After all, I still need her as a meat shield to get Serafina her favorite strawberry cake." As his words fell, my eyes instantly filled with terror. Looking at the dozens of men surrounding me, I couldn't imagine if I'd survive the night. I desperately crawled forward, blood foam dripping from my mouth, pleading with him to spare me. "Julian, do you remember?